Okay, everybody, Glitch Reaper here, aka the original card game for the win, and this is going to be a little bit different. I'm not going to go into like a major run or anything, and you may notice the quests look missing. They're not entirely, don't panic, but the game has had a few weird things recently, and I'm not sure if they really meant to, but I don't know. Okay. Let's go over a few things. For one thing, you still will get daily quests, right? At least right now that I know of, and it's just not showing like the timer of when that'll reset or the quest itself. Like it's not showing a blank spot saying this will refresh in this much time. It's also not showing your. Sorry, bump the mic. I'm still getting used to this new one. Uh, it's not showing your daily or weekly wins at this like a good portion of the time. Like it's like mainly like if you're currently doing something of which they'd apply to, like getting your experience, getting your quests. It it's like showing it more whenever you're along the way than whenever you've kind of done it for a while. It's weird. It's like, and now they're having it where it says to apply it mostly to standard play, ranked events, and like other events. It's not really going off your weekly wins being like just wins whenever you hit the play button right now, so it's not showing it. It's also not showing your daily wins, and I don't know if it's only counting them that way or not. Like whenever you're doing quests, but you still get experience for quests too. That's okay. But it's like it's not showing it unless you're doing like things it would apply to, which is weird. And there's a few other things too. Like you may notice that, uh, or you may not notice, and that's kind of also a problem. Is when it's not there, you might not notice. But Friday Night Magic isn't a thing on Arena right now. It's like Friday Night Magic at home is like off. I liked that feature while they had it. I don't know if it's like just gone period or what, but that's just kind of how it is right now. It's not there anymore, which is again kind of weird. And I mean, I know that they did it mostly for the pandemic and all that, but at the same time, it's kind of good to have a few free events on a weekly basis, and maybe some in some other events that aren't quite so free, where you can like pay in gold and stuff. But yeah, that's the way it's been for a while. But it's just the fact that they don't have any of those events right now is just kind of weird because again they've done it for a while. It just seems natural for them to have at least something that's considered just bonus events that anybody can go into. Especially when that's really good for like starting players. I mean, I'm not a starting player, but it's a good thing for starting players. And I see why it is because it can help those that are still learning the game and trying to get a hang of it to just kind of see what different styles are like and just watch certain dynamics in action without having to just jump in heavy and try to like collect for a while to get anything to work. Especially those that were like super random, because those events are actually much better for beginning players because it kind of levels the playing field. You don't have to be an advanced player to win. It's like, I know, Ultra Luck Challenge, some people might always be against that, but some people are kind of for that too. But you gotta remember the people that haven't been doing the game for a while, they haven't really had time to observe, and they will get just pounded by old-time gamers like me. Because if we're using like decks we built ourselves. But if it's something that's an event deck, or something where there's no real deck per se, and it's just random, like, again, a Momir's match is always cool that way, then they can just see all sorts of dynamics, and they don't have to have been in the game for a long time to be able to see them. So, I think it's kind of good them having, like, some kind of free event periodically. It's just not happening right now. There are some other things on the good side, in terms of news. So it's not like they've just nerfed all of Arena. No. It's not quite like that. But they have made it where some things aren't quite as apparent as they used to be and might be a little confusing. So I'm just gonna tell you those things will show up whenever they actually apply, which is weird. As opposed to them being there and revealing that they're going to be a feature for you permanently and to not panic when the button disappears. So it's kind of like that. Also, Strixhaven is apparently out. Has been for a while. I've gotten a few packs myself and a bit from it, but not too terribly much because it's still new. But that's where some other things come in because I'd kind of like to show some of the things they've got in the store right now. And let me see here. It's more under the bundles section than anything else. Although there are exceptions. For one thing, you can actually buy a few emotes here. Sticker emotes, and I am considering that. Because these are good ones. I like her going, okay, I'm getting ready to lay it down here. Her being like her, like she's like totally like hanging out here, going, yeah, like she totally looks like she could be like cheering for the home team right there. And he's just doing the math on that, like, let me think about that. It's like these emotes are just so good. I like them, but I've also got other things I'd like to grab. Now, this is a time where I will possibly be doing a bundle, kind of like I did whenever I got my Black Lotus, because it was on a bundle that was cheaper for both of them combined, and not to mention it was also like the one of the best ways to get it. Period, in terms of like getting both a sleeve and the pet. I put question mark on that because it's a flower. But in this case, we got a similar thing here. In this case, it's totally a pet and a interesting card sleeve choice. This is Milla, and you can, and she's featured in this set because Luca or Luca, I'm not sure which way that's pronounced, but how can one be sure until you hear it from someone at Wizards? Anyhow, he's on Strixhaven as well. Apparently that's where he bounced to after his slight like awakening and major planeswalk from his home plane of Ikoria. He kind of landed there. So now we know where he went. And he's got a new companion, and that's Milla. So this magical fox is his new companion. Nice to know he got a new one there, because he found the path of the Bonder, and it just kind of went into a wild whirlwind of craziness after that for him. But hey, at least he found a new one, and he's trying to find his own way in the multiverse. So good for him. And so this bundle represents not only that, but just a cute, lovable fox. I mean, goodness sakes, this fox is cute. I totally want her for a companion too. So I am very much going to do that in all likelihood. It's for 15 grand, which isn't really that big of a goal whenever you consider like a lot of things combined. But at the same time, with things not showing up, it's kind of a little weird. Like, I'm not sure if there's a way to trigger them after you're done with your quest for the day, unless you're doing, like, certain ranked events, and even them, I'm not sure if they're going to show up well and, like, do the right thing, like, say, give you that extra card. Like, I'm not sure if you can even do that without doing very particular things, and that's kind of weird. So I'm not sure how well earning up these things is going to go. But I do like this bundle, and I like this bundle over here. So for basically 20 grand in-game gold overall, I can get a new companion, a new card sleeve, and 3 emotes that seem rather appropriate for basically the same price of what would normally be one pet. And illustration here. Yeah, Puppet Jace is no longer there, but we still have the a cute and purring and shiny Emon cat. We have Milla, and we have Cody, the Codex. I was pondering getting him, but if it's saying offer in soon, I'm not sure how soon that's actually going to be. But I gotta admit, like, maybe? I mean, admittedly, I like the fox more. I mean, goodness sakes, this fox is cute. But from the But this guy just looks cool. So it's like maybe I'll see if I can get up to 20 grand by the time that he's out. I'm not sure. I may just go for the bundle first and the other maybe the other bundle first and just see if I can earn that by the time. But we'll see. We'll see. It doesn't necessarily take that long to get 20 grand, unless of course the store tempts you with actually good stuff and that you definitely also want. So I mean, there's an ebb and tide to money in this game, especially whenever there are things that you could actually use, like whole discounted packs and and maybe a bit of a bonus on your gems or something like that. Which might add, that offer for just converting some gold right into gems from the store is fairly rare. I haven't seen it very often, so you might not be able to do so too terribly often. And the one for like uh, a token to enter draft events, that is also obscenely rare. So there's certain things that, I mean, checking every day really does help when it comes to that. So in terms of like practical things in the store, yeah, they do show up, and there are things that you might want to go for if it's your style, or if it's just, some things might just be nice, and you might go, for that price, I'll go for it. So there's an ebb and flow of money in the game. So will I get that 20 grand by the time that he goes out? I don't know. Do I want this fox even more, and possibly this cat? I mean, the cat has nothing saying offer in soon, so I have a feeling that will be featured for quite some time. The codex, would I get that before the cat just because offer in soon? Possibly, possibly. Would I prioritize on the bundle for the fox? Maybe, because that fox is just so cute. My goodness, Spirit Fox is awesome. Of course, I don't think she's actually got the type of spirit in there, but she just looks like a spirit fox. Like a kitsune that doesn't got her extra tails in yet or anything like that. So she looks really nice. Also, I've kind of like the idea of pet fox. So I might just go for that just for going for that. And of course, the cat has purr. So sorry, Cody. I mean, if I happen to get that much before I get like super tempted off some other direction, maybe. We'll see. But another thing is kind of something I'm going to be still thinking I'm going to be going for overall, and again has to go with the gyms and such. I'm really thinking heavily of going towards maybe getting my first mastery pass for Adventures in Forgotten Realms, which is still coming up, like uh, later in here in 2021. Because just so much converges on that one. I actually technically have the ability, if I wanted to, like, genuinely pay in, to have to get it like a master pass earlier, but I'd rather kind of wait for it because I still kind of like the idea of showing just what you can do when you're a quest to win rather than a pay to win. And will it converge on Adventures in Forgotten Realms? I'm hoping so. I'm hoping so. I definitely do want that one regardless, because so many things in my life just say, yeah, the moment when D&D and MTG truly unite, oh my gosh, that is the moment. That is totally the moment. So there's that coming up. But do I have like other things along the way, like pets and maybe even like avatars and other things? So that reminds me, another thing that's popping up is things in the mastery currently for Strixhaven. And one thing is, if you do get a mastery pass for Strixhaven, you get all these different tome pets. I haven't really seen people selecting this whenever I'm against them in a match much. I have seen Cody the Codex though, and like this goes up for quite some time, obviously. And the ones that are said to be like uncommon, they are the ones with legs like Cody. But I'm actually kind of curious what these look like. These tome pets, so to speak. That they're artifact. I mean, or would they be flying artifact creatures? Maybe. But yeah, I haven't actually seen anybody go up against me in combat yet with these ones in particular. So if somebody has a mastery pass and has these, then I am kind of curious to actually see them show up and see what they do by comparison to the ones with legs. And speaking of mastery here in Strixhaven, kind of an interesting setup here. Now, I do have an orb. I'm not going to throw it down yet, but it's just a weird, interesting thought. Like this has like where if you go like a path enough, you'd be able to go up to like possibly the Elder Dragon that is one of the founders of Strixhaven, which is interesting. But you also have certain featured uh, things in here that's not exactly card styles. And that is you can get avatars based on the uncommon legends that are each associated with one of the major colleges. That they're like each like a real prodigy in their field. So we have Quintorius, Field Historian, Killian, Ink Duelist, Zimone, Quandrix Prodigy, Rutha, Mercurial Artist, and Dinah, Soul Steeper. But the thing is that each of these is kind of at a second level, so theoretically, if you wanted to get all these avatars, you'd have to spend like 10 mastery orbs, and probably that would only happen if you went mastery pass. So, and like did that and the other thing combined to get enough, and even then that might be a little bit of a trick. And that's assuming you don't want to go all the way with one college, because then that would take out like several other orbs. If you're a big fan of okay, let's say you're a fan of Witherbloom here, and you're going to its founder. Yeah, that's going to take, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mastery orbs. And the thing is that there is a point where you can kind of choose between two, at least on how they got these structured, I believe. So you can kind of say, well, I'd like to go over there instead, so maybe you like the Dean more than the Command. And that's a pattern each of these has, is one of their double Deans, which actually is kind of a twofer because these are bimodal cards, so you'd actually get the style for each. But then there's the Commands, which are very powerful, like instants and sorceries that let you do all sorts of stuff related to that college. Well, this one's a little different because it's got a... Oh yeah, nope, it's got it that way too. So yeah, they all have that kind of structure to them. So that's kind of what's going on the mastery tree right now. And going back to the store for a moment in terms of what all the news is, let's see if any of those are available just straight out of the store. Because we have like some ones that's been here for a while. Nope, it looks like you still have the old school ones there, which at some point I might get some of, speaking of which. But for right now, not really a big thing there for me to worry about. But it's a thought. So, there's the thing. Although, it does make me wonder, can you just pick some other avatars there? Okay, do we have any complete newbies just in the selectables that are kind of the basic ones? No, not really. It seems a lot of them are pretty exclusive to things like that, so... Here's the thing, although it's kind of funny, because whenever you first start the game, you start out as the adventurer, but you can't reselect that one until, like, a long time afterwards. So, there's that. Yeah, and you can't buy it in the store. In like this way, you have to do it as the bundle in terms of getting the avatar that happens to be the adventurer. So there's also that kind of thing, but that's been that way for a while. The big thing is just kind of like the new stuff I went over, like some of the new bundles and stuff we got, how we got the mastery set up, the weird news about how something's not showing up normally, or may not be even applicable until you do certain things. I'm still not sure. And the way they got it set up is saying, like, in standard play for some of that. I'm wondering if you can do that in Brawl, like a standard Brawl. I'm pondering that, so I might try figuring that out later as to whether or not I could do that in a so-called standard Brawl. So there's that too, but there's some things I'm still figuring out, and maybe I can show off Brawl style a bit more uh, if it happens to apply that way. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm trying to figure that out. And I may even construct a whole new Brawl deck to see how that works. So we'll see about that. But for now, that's kind of most of the news I've got here at this time. Strixhaven's out, and it's a pretty extensive and interesting set. It's based around a mage school. This concept has been in Magic the Gathering for a really long time, like before Harry Potter was ever written, actually. Which is kind of funny because somebody brought up the point that because Magic the Gathering and its mage schools actually came first, that it may have inspired the idea on Harry Potter and some other things as well, because Wizards of the Coast has been coordinating both Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons for quite a while now, and they've kind of had that concept pop up a few times. But they never really went as extensively into it as they are in Strixhaven. And that was only like after the Harry Potter thing, because that kind of brought up the idea of, well, what would it be like to actually have adventures in a mage school? And so now Strixhaven is doing that, and it's like, okay, this is our take on what it's like to have adventures in a mage school, or even just to be there. So it's like, we're finally letting out our vision of it. So congrats, Wizards of the Coast, for letting that out, and us seeing what that's all about. So, yeah, I'll be logging off for now, because I think I pretty much just discussed everything I can think of that's popped around right now, and how things are kind of going on that, because, again, it's just like the state of the MTG Arena game is just kind of a bit of a side grade right now. It's got a lot of good things going for it right now, but at the same time, some stuff seems to be missing. Also, now that I'm thinking about it, one more note. For some odd reason, it's not saying first whenever you first get a card. When they pop up, it's not saying it. Like, you look back in your collection, you realize, oh yeah, that is like only one copy, so that had to be my first. But it's not announcing it on the card like it used to. I don't know if that's a glitch, or if they're weirdly enough decided to take that out for some bizarre reason I can't really fathom. But that's just kind of where it is right now. But okay, now I can say that that's pretty much all the news. So I'll be logging off for now. Hope to hear from you all later. Bye for now, everybody, and remember, MTG forever.